Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan,
Chris,
Lee.
And there was a suitable delay while we wait for the qualifying session for the first podcast. We'll be back in another 15 minutes.
do you want to send that safety car round again?
Yeah, I'll just send it round.
Hey, you know how it's even wetter than it was 15 minutes ago?
Yeah,
Should we just send the safety car out again?
We should have started podcasting about 15 minutes ago.
Did you hear the answer that Ross Brawn gave when he was asked by, I think it was Ted Kravitz speaking to on the grid?
Yeah, well, yeah, in one of the shelters.
I've never heard such a better politician answer than that. He just completely usurped the question as, yeah, well, we think it might rain a bit more in a second. And he's like, no, but it wasn't raining for a bit. Yeah, it's a real shame, isn't it? It's raining.
What about the poor people, Ross? Well, there's so many rich people in the world. Yeah, so qualifying on Saturday.
All the rich people in the world were in a hospitality tent in the paddock.
Well, I did think, and I did say on last week's podcast, not to brag too much, but I did say that it would rain and we'd have an interesting qualifying that would jumble the grid up for the race. It jumbled the grid up a little bit, but that was mainly down to penalties.
No, the FIA jumbled the grid up a little bit.
No, everyone jumbled the grid up because there were only 9 drivers who decided not to take penalties.
And again...
it was 9 drivers that did take penalties.
No, I think it was 11 that took penalties in the end.
Oh, God.
This week...
They kept changing the grid up until 30 minutes before the race.
Yeah,
it was mental.
everybody apart from Hamilton moved. They did. It was fucking ridiculous.
No, I think Sainz started in 15th and qualified in 15th.
No, Hamilton...
Even with a 10th-place penalty.
Hamilton was the only person that started in his qualifying position.
He was until Perez took a penalty.
Oh, fuck it. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christian Horner, again, in the corner...
Christian
Horner sat in the corner of Horner Corner Talk Sense about Formula
Eating
1.
his curds and whey? No, it's the
You've been listening to way too many nursery rhymes recently.
Hell yeah.
You can find out why if you pledge to our Patreon.
Yes, now, do it. He turned around and said that the new hybrid engines have done absolutely nothing for Formula 1.
Well, they have done something. They've screwed things up.
Apart from having some cool technology, you can't knock the cool technology, but for the actual sport...
I suspect people who work at manufacturer teams might have a different opinion to people who don't work at manufacturer teams.
I'm sure, but I get his point. His point is that they've done nothing for the sport.
Yeah, but when the head of one of the manufacturer teams basically says, "Oh yeah, we screwed up, we're shit."
Yeah.
Tell you what,
Did I hear as well during that long wait for qualifying to actually start that was it last year it was 5 units and now this year it's 4, or 2 years ago it was 5, then
it's 4, and next year it's 3.
Yeah,
next year is 3 before of each unit before you take penalties.
So that actually means there's a chance for McLaren to get their or whoever's running a Honda engine to get their first penalty in qualifying in Australia.
That's crazy. That's fucking ridiculous.
It's just not. It's stupid because that's not.
Sport. It's not sport.
No, it's too restrictive.
Yeah.
That's far too restrictive.
Yeah.
3 power units for the whole season. Well, come on.
build them to last.
We're not building things to last. It's not a marathon. They're supposed to be sprint races.
But the season's a marathon, so
Yeah.
All you'll end up with is cars going slower to conserve the engine parts.
Well,
we've got the new aero regulations in to make the cars go as fast as they can. So we're gonna dick about with the engine rules so that they can't.
Anyway, this is purely future conjecture of things that might be reversed.
What I did think was interesting that Christian Horner just fucking dropped like a microphone and walked off was the fact that they've got power of veto for Renault engines.
Which we'll get to shortly.
Yeah.
Because
we didn't know that, did we?
No, Christian Horner's not allowed microphones, just in case his wife gets hold of one of them again.
Right, okay. That'd be why it was just boomed over him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what Christian Horner wants.
What he really, really wants.
It's a Mercedes engine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right, fun time's over. Let's talk about McLaren.
Because they were the worst team, as I have decided, at Monza.
Well, we're not arguing with you. I mean,
they were the worst team on Sunday.
Yeah, apart from the retirement, Stoffel wasn't doing too badly.
Both of them did
he was
very
doing
well.
great right up to the point where he wasn't.
No, here's my problem with Honda. Okay, well, how long
one
have we
of
got?
the
Here's my problem with Honda this weekend. They turned the wick up on that car, and all right, they were a little bit flattered with the wet weather on Saturday, but they turned the wick up on that car so that they had a little bit of a chance. And both McLarens moved forward. Van Dorn ahead of Alonso for most part of the race, with like a car usually between them. But they were both moving forward, both on the cusp of points. And then because they turned the wick up on that Honda power unit, it broke. Mm-hmm. It can't handle the power it's supposed to use to race. And when I heard the news that McLaren could be ready to take on Renault power units from next year, depending on other things, as we just explained, the Renault Vito, power of
that's their new 3-door SUV, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. No, don't Mercedes have a van called the Vito? But anyway, they're not the ones with the Vito. It's Red Bull.
A really good band.
I've put in the running order not Paul's old band.
Oh shit, you are.
Oh dear, I knew I had to write that down. But
that shows how much preparation we actually do, because I've got the running order in front of me and I've not even read it.
Unscripted, people.
We're already 6 minutes in.
We're coming to you recorded live in Lee's room.
In front of a studio audience.
Yeah.
Well, Jensen the podcat.
And a fish.
And a fish.
And a fish, yeah. I thought that the move from Honda to Renault was looking fairly stupid, because Honda are catching Renault at a rate of knots. Especially when you look at the teams like Toro Rosso and Renault, the works team, Honda appear to be catching them. And this weekend, for a large part of Sunday, I thought, that's a really bad move. And then when both Honda power units let go, I thought, well, hang on a second. Renault power units have been letting go this year, but they've also been able to race.
Yeah, I think it's also, given the fact of how fast Monza is, it may be that McLaren's chassis has been flattering Honda, making it look like they were catching Renault more than they actually were.
I mean, Chris, when we were doing the race blog on Sunday, you went into a little bit of a diatribe about, from the looks of things, McLaren will be stupid to let Honda go because they are getting it right, and
absolutely.
And by the end of the race,
no, they weren't.
It wasn't.
No, because that was my. I was literally verbalising my thoughts, and my thought process was.
That's what speaking normally is.
Yeah. Verbalising my thoughts without processing them properly.
That's what my speaking is.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, and it just looked like, hang on a second, Honda are making forward steps here. Like this is Monza, and both McLarens are doing really well.
Unfortunately, it's a quick step, and that's 5 back after those 3 forward.
Yeah, they've probably broken all of the power units.
5 steps back per component change.
Well, they've probably broken all of the power units they've ever had. The power unit factory's probably caught fire, and they've got like an 800 grid place penalty in Singapore, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, what was it, the Stoffel excuse this week? It was an MG UK shaft, so it was easier to change the entire power unit than it was to replace one component.
Are they making a point?
Are they making things up?
No, are they making a point as in, like, you know what, it's easier to just replace the whole lot because it's in a box and it would just transfer the whole lot over rather than, this hybrid system?
Well, now they think they can change just the shaft. I'm keeping a very close eye.
The only thing that's getting shafted is Alonso.
But yeah, they think they can change this one broken component safely in time for Singapore, so that Stoffel can use the engine that he was meant to use at the weekend and started using and then got replaced and then took all those penalties at the next race.
It's easier to get to the shaft now. Alonso's took a lump hammer to the car.
We do have another sad Fernando coming up later.
Yes, he was not quite as sad as he was in Belgium.
But we've made it sound as sad.
But there were still sad Fernando messages. So, because of great demand, we have provided another sad Fernando.
Do you think before he retires, we're going to be able to do like a happy Fernando to Good Vibrations or something?
Well, only if he's going to IndyCar.
I think he's complained about the vibrations this year not being good. That's what's broken the engine.
Poor Nando.
Sauber then. Renault.
No, Sauber were having a bit of an inter-team battle. There was overtakes on camera.
Yeah.
Well, no, hang on a second.
They gave each other a clunk, didn't they?
At one point, yeah, but...
It was more of a gentle kiss.
Sauber started like way just outside the points, didn't they? Started like 11th and 12th on the grid.
10th and 11th.
10th and 11th,
in the end.
or something like that. Because of all the penalties and everybody took penalties, Sauber didn't. Therefore, they by default moved up towards the front. Default. The two greatest words in the English language. And by the end of I think it was like the third lap, they were like they were 18th and
They were only ahead of the two cars that had pitted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Grosjean and Verstappen.
Yeah,
were they were only ahead of those, and Wehrlein finished the race still 2 laps down. On the only car to be lapped twice, and Ericsson retired.
Ericsson was retired just after Alonso was. We did see overtakes on camera. That's because they were coming up to be lapped, and they didn't notice the blue flags, and they were arguing with themselves.
Yeah, and then Wehrlein had to give. Ericsson gave Wehrlein an awful lot more space, and Wehrlein just disappeared a little bit from Ericsson. But I don't think. I don't know what to think about Sauber.
I try not to.
No, but I'm really disappointed with them because we're going on about McLaren and Honda. At least Honda are giving it a go. They're trying. Good God knows they're trying. But Sauber, they're just constantly sliding backwards.
But Monza is an engine circuit.
They've got a 2016 Ferrari engine.
Yeah, they've got a last year's engine. If you think about the teams that did well, there are Ferrari and Red Bull. But you had Mercedes at the front.
Yep.
The Mercedes engine Williams.
Yep.
The Mercedes engine Force Indias.
Yeah.
And then behind them, everyone else.
Pretty much, yeah.
So last year's Ferrari engine has to be the biggest factor in why the Saubers sucked this weekend.
Yeah, but they've been doing it all year.
Yeah, that's because no upgrades very little in the way of upgrades are available for it. The team has only just been able to, same as last year, they've only just been able to afford to actually bring aero upgrades to the car. I think they're basically flying a holding pattern while
They're flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, they're flying the holding pattern while they can find more investment, get a better engine, and God knows, sell the team to someone.
Just trying to keep the team above water, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think if they become into financial difficulties, also probably final difficulties, I honestly think that you'll see Alfa Romeo, that team becoming an Alfa Romeo team. Ferrari will buy the team out.
I think if anyone can get a team on zero budget to do a lot better than they should do, it's Fred Vassar.
And I think that's what he's trying to do, but his hands are kind of tied by the owners.
Well, this year his hands are going to be tied by the fact that
he's trying to unknot all the shit that they're in.
And Carlton made all the decisions.
Yeah, it's not his team, it's not his car. So any earlier decisions made, which might mean he can't fix problems, his hands are tied. Next year, I think we'll see different things. I hope to God we'll see different things.
Next year we'll see Charles Leclerc driving one of those cars.
I think it will be like Alfa Romeo, Sauber Alfa Romeo next year. Convinced.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Sauber Romeo,
Sauber Alpha.
No, I just think they'll turn up. Possibly not for 2018, but maybe 2019, 2020 even. If
don't look for them at the beginning of the decade.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters because it's only going to be a rebadged Ferrari engine, isn't it?
Well, no, but I think the whole team will be red, slightly darker red than Ferrari, and
with little shamrocks all over the place.
Yeah, and have Alfa Romeo down the back of the.
Maybe they're going to go through the BMW phase, where it's Sauber BMW, then full fat BMW, then fucked.
Yeah, possibly.
But the thing is, Peter Sauber's not there anymore, so when Ferrari decide to pull out the team, it's going to be Vasseur Racing.
Yes.
Possibly.
Or Kaltenborn Racing.
They need to be a bit faster.
No, Kaltenborn's gone. Gone.
But Peter Sauber was gone when BMW fully took over.
Kaltenborn's gone.
Propping up a bridge somewhere on a motorway that's just being built.
Yeah.
That's what you get. That's what you get for pissing off Longbow Capital. Even though no one knows who they are.
No, they're a company that appears to have been founded just purely to take on Sauber.
Just quick question.
Yep.
It's kind of it's on topic but off team.
Go.
You know Stroll's dad?
Yes.
Lawrence.
Is he Canada Life man?
No, he's Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh right, because I saw the Canada Life thing on the Williams, and I wondered whether that's why he had all the money.
No, he's got his money from Tommy Hilfiger. I think Canada Life have kind of joined in because Canada,
Canadian.
Canada, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Cool.
Right, we'll move on to Renner. Palmer retired, Hulk 13th. Sorry, Karma Palmer.
Karma Palmer. I think, what do we think about that incident with Palmer and Alonso? He cut the chicane.
He cut the chicane and should have given the place back.
Didn't.
And I don't understand why Alonso made such a massive, massive deal about it.
No, I
going
don't
on for
understand.
half the race.
Yeah. It wound him up, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Alonso's probably been in the situation where he skipped the chicane and had to give a place back, and probably tried not to give it back as long as he
Yeah.
possibly could,
But it's different for him.
because he was in a Ferrari at the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I think he, of course, difficult to disagree with what Dan just said. He cut the corner, should have given the place to Alonso, didn't.
Yeah.
Got a 5-second penalty.
Not the only racer this season to do any of those things.
Yeah, no, and also the penalty was against Palmer, but it didn't really help Alonso. Which is, we've said this about penalties in the past, haven't we? How, penalties can penalise a driver or a team that's made a mistake,
Yeah.
but they don't necessarily give that time or anything. They don't
Back
do it
to the driver. That's
to the
been
driver who's been
offended, yeah.
impeded or something that happens to.
But if he's been able to
Yeah.
gain more than 5 seconds on Alonso,
Yeah, like
then he was probably going to overtake him anyway.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Jumping
it the other way
forward.
around though? Wasn't it? Didn't Alonso lose a load of time behind him then?
he couldn't follow him. I think.
Oh, could he not
I
follow
think
him?
that's why he got so upset. But
Right.
but just to jump forward a little bit down the running order, if we can, the incident between Verstappen and Massa at turn 1. Had they decided that was Massa's fault, and well, I don't think it was, by the way, but had
No.
they decided that was Massa's fault and gave Massa a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision, that wouldn't have made Max Verstappen go right up to the
Further
top of the
up,
grid again, because he
no.
still would have had to crawl round until he got that puncture sorted, which put him plumb last. So, that's the way that the penalties work. It is a little bit strange at times how they work, but
The thing is, penalties aren't there to benefit the offended driver, are they?
No, they're there to
Penalties are there
penalise.
to penalise and hopefully dissuade drivers from driving badly.
Yeah.
Although, according to Fernando Alonso, the reason that the penalty wasn't as severe as it was the stewards were having a Heineken.
Yes.
Alonso has accused the stewards of having a Heineken responsibly, I hope, because when you steward, never
Drive.
Drive.
he said they were on the piss.
Right. Maybe they were.
It probably explains some of the decisions that they made this week.
yeah, they went to the bar during the stoppage and qualifying on Saturday and didn't come back before
Till
the
start
race.
of the race.
Yeah,
Yeah,
were-
because they definitely missed everything that was going on in GP2.
Yeah. Maybe Kimi
Oh,
was.
the
was-
result of that the result of the Saturday race there got changed because somebody cut a chicane.
Did it?
Yes,
Then Luca Giotto win it.
Luca Giotto crossed the line first and then got demoted to fourth because he cut the chicane.
Who won it then?
Antonio Fuoco.
Not Nick De Vries or Charles Leclerc, as it looked like it might be at some point.
Yeah, until Nick De Vries tried to
Kill Charles Leclerc.
If you're Esteban Ocon, yes.
Well, he did make sure he wasn't on the racetrack,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I've never seen a 20-second penalty given out for causing a collision before.
Wow.
yeah,
It was a big one then.
it was get off the track and into that barrier basically.
Whoops.
when Leclerc could have won the race.
I'm pretty sure that's not allowed.
It isn't.
So that's
Yeah.
why he got a 20-second penalty.
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, back to the
Anyway,
Formula One.
Back to the Formula One. Yeah, Palmer. I think his only thing of note was the little tussle that he had with Alonso.
He went backwards at the start of the race.
He had a bad start.
Again, the second race in a row that he's sort of gone backwards a little bit.
Yeah, he's. And you can't blame the car this week.
I don't think anything went wrong with the car until he had to
Until
retire.
they retired him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a little bit anonymous.
And who was there for Sky Italia this week?
Davide Valsecchi?
Bobby Kay. He was with Sky Italia.
Our Cubs.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Valsecchi.
I love the guy.
He was too
Absolutely
loud
hate
on
him.
Saturday after qualifying.
I just go away. Like, I feel like every time he speaks, there's like nurses with a straitjacket behind him, just waiting for him to stop or waiting for him to move slow enough to grab him.
I think his excitement had been building like a 4-year-old throughout Saturday, because by the time qualifying actually got done and finished, he was shouting so loudly.
It was
Yeah.
over. It's like
I had to turn my TV down.
it was like a kid on the 1st
That's right,
of December.
everyone, I'm
By
old.
the time it gets to Christmas, Santa!
You know who would have been? Like, you see if they were making a
That's like
Valsecchi
Gollum.
movie.
No, that's right though.
Yeah. See if they were making like the Chronicles of Valsecchi. Like, the ideal actor to play him would have been Robin Williams, and therefore makes him one of the most fucking irritating people on the planet.
I just love his enthusiasm and how excited he gets about it all.
Yeah, people can be.
I
people
also
can be
want him to
excited by
narrate my
bad-
life.
People can be excited by bad things.
Yeah, I've seen your browser history.
Very excited.
What do we think about Hulk?
Fairly anonymous throughout the race. He was struggling around. Did he score points in the end?
No,
Hulkenberg?
13th.
13th.
13th, penalties at the start. Well, of course, he was taking part in the race. Of course, he had penalties.
Yeah. And he was fighting with Toro Rossos, if I remember rightly. Kvyat and Sainz for a while, and didn't get past Kvyat at the end of the race.
No.
No.
Didn't he have a problem?
I don't know.
Didn't he have a puncture or something? There was something that put him back, wasn't there?
Did he have an extra pit stop? I don't remember Hulkenberg having an extra pit stop.
I don't. Don't remember that.
I can't remember. It must have just been the penalties that's put him back. That
Yeah,
I'm thinking of.
yeah. He was already taking a.
Because he qualified well, didn't he?
He qualified well, but he had a penalty.
Yeah.
See also everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, that's I can't really say much. Toro Rosso next. Sainz in 14th, Kvyat in 12th.
Yeah.
They took part in the race.
Yeah, they took part in the race. They not. It's this Renault power unit again, which is why during the race I thought, well, Honda appeared to have made leaps and bounds, and then they didn't.
The thing to remember is, no matter what wherever you see Honda against Renault, Red Bull's also got a Renault.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
That's what the benchmark should be. You know, when you're judging Honda, McLaren, and a Renault engine, you should be looking at Red Bull, not the other Renaults.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the only interesting thing to come out of Toro Rosso this weekend is the announcement that Sean Gallagher is doing 4 FP1 sessions for between now and the end of the season.
Yes, yeah.
Pierre Gasly is now worried.
Well, you've got Sainz. There was more muttering from Sainz, wasn't there? And I think the moving parts to get a Renault engine in a McLaren probably involve him as well.
It's going to be one of the most complicated, convoluted deals ever.
But I think for somehow I don't know what the because the way I look at it is a Renault engine in a McLaren can only help Red Bull because of the data that's going to come. You know, the data from McLaren is going to be very valuable to Renault, I'd have thought, given the team.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work out. I had it in my head the other day how it worked out in my head, but
But McLaren are thinking that since Red Bull can take race wins with the Renault engine, they'll be in the same position, which means they'll be taking the occasional race win away from Red Bull.
if Red Bull aren't going to veto it, there must be something in it for Red Bull.
Would be nice to talk
Yeah.
about the actual race rather than skip ahead.
Yeah.
Although this was something that was that almost announced at the race. Let's be honest.
It was announced that it was going to be announced, and then wasn't announced.
So
It
it'll be
hasn't,
tomorrow.
well, hasn't been announced yet, but as we know, we record these on the listeners will know this as well. We record these podcasts on Monday nights, and Tuesdays are big Formula One news days.
Yeah.
So
We'd like to
Tuesdays,
record on Tuesday, but because of our schedules,
Yeah.
it is not possible.
yes. Bloody goth band. No, I mean the goth band that practices on a Monday night, so we have to practice on a Tuesday.
I know you don't talk about me.
Yeah, well, no, yeah.
Lee, you massive goth band.
But I mean, what more can we say about Toro Rosso during the race? We saw Kvyat putting a couple of decent moves together.
Yeah, but it was. We got to try and remind ourselves it wasn't after Saturday. Qualifying was, quite exciting with it being wet. And that the race itself wasn't that exciting.
No.
I don't know if there were any passes made that weren't under DRS.
There were quite a few.
There were quite a few.
Yeah.
I did see a tweet from Virtual Statman
Oh, there
saying
we go.
that passes not under DRS, well, both under DRS and not under DRS were up on last year.
Yeah, I think it was like 63 overtakes, 18 under DRS.
That rings a bell.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So that would be about 45 actual real life overtakes.
Yeah,
There was a lot under braking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was only like 8 overtakes last year or something like that. It was ridiculous, It was-
Yeah.
But I think what was in favour of this race was how fucking quick it was. If this had been a 2-hour race,
But
something
again,
like that,
going back to
it would have
virtual
been a
stat.
snooze fest.
Yeah.
If it had been a 2-hour race, it'd have also been wet, so we'd have actually got some fun out of it.
Okay, a dry 2 hours.
Going back to Virtual Statman, did he say it was the fastest race since 2006?
Yeah, and the 5th fastest race of all time.
Yeah.
I definitely think you can
In-
tell. You can
in-
tell how quick they are now.
Does that include the Malaysia Grand Prix, which was stopped after half distance?
I think that's the 5th fastest full race
Oh, right,
that's gone
yeah.
full distance. The ones that stopped before, well, it was before, I think it was slightly before halfway, that Malaysia Grand Prix.
They all got half points, didn't they?
Yeah.
After when it monsooned the year that bottom.
But you
one
get half
failed.
points for doing if the race is less than 66% complete.
Right.
Move on. Haas next. K-Mag 11th, Grosjean 15th. Grosjean pitted at the end of the first lap to get a new front wing. He said it was damaged, the team said it wasn't, and then the team apologised to him over the radio saying, "Oh, we just had a look at it, and yeah, there was an end plate missing, you were right to stop."
Yeah. Exactly. He knew that was it him and Perez that came together, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the first chicane on lap 1, and we saw something fly up in the air, and we thought, "Oh, Perez again." But it was just racing. It wasn't one or the other's fault, really. It was just lots of cars trying to get through a very small gap.
There was a lot of carbon fibre in that first turn.
Yeah, there was banging the wheels. There was some good racing going on, good jostling for position, and as Dan said, some carbon fibre went flying.
I mean, it wasn't...
There was basically an entire car up in the air.
Do you think?
If you added all the little bits together, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't to the extent of Porsche Super Cup, which, as far as I can see, is rich men driving into each other at Grand Prix circuits.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah, it is literally like
Why is Max Chilton not in it?
world class Sunday Cup, isn't it?
Oh, Max Chilton led the IndyCar race for a lap last night.
He led the Indy 500 as well, if I remember rightly.
The only reason that he led, the only reason that he was leading last night was
Everybody else crashed.
no, they declared it a wet start, made everyone start on wet tyres. Between them declaring it a wet start and the actual start, the track had dried out. So 25 of the 27 cars came in for a pit stop. Chilton stayed out for an extra lap, led it, and then came out last.
Was it an oval race?
Nope.
Oh right.
No.
No. Do they race in the wet and oval?
No.
Ovals? No.
No.
Right. That's why I was getting
Too
confused.
dangerous.
But no, Max Chilton
Fannies.
led an entire lap,
Well done, Max Chilton.
and then Alex Rossi won.
Yeah.
Well done, Alex Rossi.
So there's hope for the back end of the F1 grid.
Yeah. You can tell he's a hipster. He loves Indy.
I didn't actually watch it last night. I ended up putting a movie on.
Did you?
Yeah.
No, I lied. I said after the Indy 500, I'm going to make a real effort to watch more IndyCar.
And you haven't.
Not a single car.
Oh well.
I've watched a couple of races, and some of it's good, and some of it is just a bit.
Where were we on the F1 running order?
Oh yeah, well,
The podcast.
we were talking about Team Fuck Yeah, Haas.
Oh right, yeah. We almost saw Magnussen and Hulkenberg, didn't we? But then didn't somebody pit just as that fight was about to happen?
Yes, we thought we were going to get balls too, ball harder.
Yeah, suck
Didn't
my
Magnussen
balls
take
harder.
a swipe at somebody, I remember, and blame them for it? What was that?
Magnussen and Verstappen had a bit of a go at each other, and K-Mag is now pissed off that Verstappen didn't get penalised for it.
He's being a proper bell end Magnussen, isn't he?
The Kevin Magnussen fan club turned up at Monza.
Did they?
Yeah.
All three
His
of
dad.
them.
Yeah, hashtag support KMag, and so I thought that's interesting. So I went onto the Twitter and put on hashtag
the
Twitter and put hashtag support KMag, and it was people asking why do people use hashtag support KMag. I couldn't see anything. It was just like, yeah, you go KMag.
The only thing that supported Kevin Magnussen is his seat.
And his pants, maybe.
Pants. He might have a belt.
Maybe.
Mind you, that's more support than the pants, isn't it?
I think so.
Rather than
Yeah,
supporting the man.
yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a great deal you can say about K-Mag at the minute, apart from...
His arms must
He's-
be the most loyal thing in the world because they're the only thing that will stay by his side.
Is Haas the whiniest little bitch driver lineup on the grid?
Yes.
Is
I
Haas-
don't know. Alonso kind of contends with the pair of them.
Yeah, but it's sort of
Yeah, but
balanced, it's
Van
balanced
Dorn-
out by Stoffel, who
Yeah.
we don't hear complain.
Van Dorn just tends to okay everything that it seems to be the only thing he says when he.
He is literally McLaren bot, isn't
Oh
he?
yeah, he is he is the last embers of Ron Dennis left in that team. Stoffel, we think we've got a problem. Box now, okay,
Stoffel, you're winning.
okay. That was a great lap, Stoffel. Okay.
Oh, he's crashed again. What? No, the
Okay.
car. No. Stoffel's actually just crashed.
No, you could actually tell if Stoffel had been programmed by Ron, because he wouldn't say okay every time. It would be
Affirmative.
I fully comprehend the situation. I am replying in the affirmative, and I think you will understand my agreement.
Your hair is thick and lovely.
But yeah, Haas are the whiniest little bitch lineup on the grid, because
I
K-Mag
think
complains
maybe
about-
ever.
Yeah, possibly.
I'm struggling to think of a
Of a
lineup.
whinier
Yeah.
driver lineup. Now, to be fair, without Grosjean's first lap incident and then the pit, he may have scored a fistful of points. Exactly.
No, that's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I know, but I don't know the theme tune to a fistful of points.
Can we
Well, then
now?
shush.
Can we now refer to Haas as Millennial Racing?
Yes.
We have a lot of fans of Haas Formula One team who listen to this podcast.
I want Haas to do well, and I'm
Yeah,
glad
but-
they're there.
Oh, but come on, get some
Fucking-
better drivers. They signed them both up for 2018.
Yeah. What? Right. You know, we talk about Williams sometimes, not necessarily right now because circumstances, I think, have their drivers. But in the past, we've accused Williams of not being
Having a driver.
aggressive enough
Yeah.
or like forward thinking enough. That's not forward thinking hiring them pair of fucking turkeys.
No, you've got to be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah.
And I don't think Haas are being proactive enough.
And the other thing is, when you think that, like, maybe not next year, depending on what goes on with Selber, but, like, people were, when Grosjean went there, he's like, well, this is the way for me to get a Ferrari drive.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, no, that would involve you breaking into a factory. But, you know, how come they're not using that to get a Carlos Sainz, or someone of that caliber?
Yeah, I know what you mean. In Haas's defence, they're having a very unsettled second season.
It's more competitive, though. They are. good.
Yeah, they're scoring more points.
Yeah.
I mean, Haas think they've got a Carlos Sainz and Santino Ferrucci, which I have read described as somebody who's there because he was a little bit quick in a go-kart, knows the Haas family, and his dad's loaded.
I like his hair.
Okay.
Bong. Yeah, just meh. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
Force India. 6th for Ocon, 9th for Perez, and no attempted murder charges this week.
Wow.
And a
might-
cat fight
might be
going
murder.
on outside.
Cat agrees. Don't know if
Are
that-
you renaming your cats Esteban and Checo?
Maybe.
Good performance.
It's amazing what Ocon can do when he hasn't got Perez driving into the side of him.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he started.
Oh, come on. It's not always the side. Sometimes it's the back.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. And it can be either side.
Yeah.
In Ocon, he started third, and with Ocon starting third and Lance Stroll starting second, I thought perhaps maybe we might have a little bit of a coming together in the first corner, but they both treated it very, very well. Both actually gained ground on Lewis Hamilton off the start. Lewis didn't disappear before the first corner, and just with, I thought Force India were gonna have a chance of a podium at this race, especially when Ocon put his car third.
But the Ferraris and the Red Bulls were just far too
Ferraris,
quick.
the Red Bull, And again, just the power of that Mercedes for Bottas to power through like he did in those early laps to make sure it was Mercedes 1-2. It was great, but it put paid to Force India's plan, if they did have a plan. And we ended up with...
I think the plan for this week was get what you can, try not to kill each other, and we'll tell you what to do if it looks like you're going to kill each other.
Yeah, well, there was a moment of sandwiching, wasn't there? I think and it finished like that, where it was Ocon, the two Williams drivers, and Perez. I think that's how it finished.
That's how it finished.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the top five, I think 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, that's reasonable enough for both Force India and Williams at the moment. Like Dan said, obviously a strong circuit for Mercedes engines. So Force India and Williams almost matching each other for performance. So much so that they crossed the line pretty much all together, all four of them. And on the last lap, the closest battle was Perez trying to pass Massa. And he just didn't get close enough.
No, we're actually getting highlights of Perez trying to pass Massa as the sort of the cutaway to show Lewis crossing the line, and then the cut straight back to that battle.
Yeah, we didn't even see Vettel finishing third, did we?
No.
We just about saw Bottas rolling over the line in second.
Yeah, and then it just cut straight back. It was good to see two Mercedes-powered teams fighting with each other at more or less identical pace.
Yeah, I mean, Williams were way off the pace in Belgium, weren't they? They just weren't even at the party.
Yeah.
They were so far away. You know, I thought they were going to struggle in Monza as well. I really did. I thought, Williams have now become the next McLaren. That they're the ones that are going to, who weirdly are the new Williams, because Williams are just going to fall back into their spot of being the most successful team who are now at the back of the grid.
Orange is the new black, and Snickers is the new name for Scotland.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be so sure about that. That's going to be the way it's going to go.
No, but that's how I thought it was going after Belgium, and I thought they were going to struggle in Monza, and they didn't at all. I mean, say what you want about Lance Stroll.
Lee often does.
Yeah,
I love Lance.
He performed well. He didn't just sort of keep the car on the track when it was wet on Saturday.
He was genuinely going quick in the wet.
He's learned very quickly. It's taken him a long time, and this learning curve of Lance Stroll's has been a bit bizarre in that it's been very shallow to start with, and as we hit mid-season, it's become very steep. And he's racing his teammate.
The team
Brilliant.
have been
that is great.
The team have been taking him to circuits and letting him giving him race simulations in old cars, which they are perfectly allowed to do. And it's just a case of he's getting the seat time that he needs.
Yeah.
He's getting to sit in a fast car.
And presumably getting confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just got to wait and see now. I think the problem for Lance is how slow and shaky the beginning of the season was. If let's just say he'd been average, let's say he'd done well enough to do average to this point, and then went and qualified as he did in the wet, we would. It's an air freshener flood.
It
don't
is.
worry about it. We'd be looking at that going fuck, and almost speaking about him in the similar tones as say Verstappen. If he'd been good and then done that in the wet.
Yeah.
But there's so much crap that's gone before it that we'll just have to wait and see. Because one race does not make a driver. I'll also point out that he did go quick, and that's grand. There's also it's probably the least technical circuit on the calendar.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
So-
that's fair to say.
Yeah, we'll just. I want Lance to do well. I think I've said that a couple of times. I don't think he's very good, but I'd prefer to be proved wrong than proved right.
I think he's got a lot more potential than some of the drivers on the grid.
I think he's got more potential than we thought he did.
I think that showing in the wet
Yeah.
shows he's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who does well in the wet
Yeah.
tends to be the actual really good
Yeah,
drivers.
yeah.
And I think at the start of the year, he didn't have the confidence. He was a bit thrown by what an actual Formula One car felt like.
I think we all said, regardless of what happens to him, he came to Formula One too early.
Agreed.
And that's,
Yeah,
that's the big
he
thing.
needed. I think he needed a
An
year in
F2.
F2.
Yeah.
In fact, I need to change my Twitter name because my Twitter name is still Stroll's #1 fan.
I mean, we've sort of more or less covered Williams, but I mean, suffice it to say that Lance Stroll would have qualified.
Yeah.
Would have qualified lower because he had all those slower cars behind him, and if he'd have gone faster, then if they'd have gone faster, he'd have been further down the grid.
Just to point out though that what Lee was saying about that technical circuit. All right, okay, it's not a very technical circuit. His teammate's Felipe Massa, who has raced at almost every circuit that Formula One has had to offer over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And if this is the least technical circuit that they go to, they've been going to it every year. Massa's been in Formula One, and Lance Stroll in the same car as Felipe Massa was able to race him.
Yeah,
and
Was
that's
genuinely
positive.
faster than him.
Yeah,
I'll caveat that by saying his teammate's Felipe Massa.
which is fine.
Can we have a proper silly season, please? It's just not been daft enough this
Silly
year.
season every season.
No, that's true, actually. Right, Red Bull next. 2 of the day performances for them. Danny Rick, 4th, driver of the day.
Yep.
3 legs, 4 wheels, driver of the day. Official FIA, driver of the day.
Everyone that tweeted as driver of the day just
Yeah.
about during the race.
Pretty
And,
much.
Max Verstappen in 10th, recovery of the day.
Yes, that's fair.
Lap 1, 3 wheels.
Well, that lap 3 wasn't
Was it lap
something like,
3?
yeah, something like that. Coming through on Felipe Massa, as we mentioned before.
Yeah.
Racing incident.
Two cars going into a space which is wide enough for 1 3/4 cars.
Yeah, I mean,
And then Max ends up with 3/4 of a car.
but Massa was ahead, and Massa chose the racing line, and Max didn't back out of it where maybe he should have done. I'm not placing the blame at anyone's door, but I think if anybody had a chance to get out of that, it was Max Verstappen, and he didn't, and it did cause him to have the puncture. But yeah, a fantastic recovery drive, given that he was last behind Grosjean.
And
But-
saying he couldn't overtake the cars around him as well.
yeah, and then he did.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of overtaking from Max Verstappen.
Was it when Max passed Grosjean? That was when Grosjean shouted at him when he was all locked up.
Something like that, yeah. All
Yeah.
that tyre smoke came here because Max Verstappen just appeared from nowhere, much in the same way as, and I think it was last season when Danny Rick passed Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. We pretty much all jumped up and went passive the season. Danny Rick again, very very similar on Kimi Raikkonen from at least.
Fucking
From
Belgium. Yeah.
From Belgium, all that way back. I think Danny Rick had actually, in all truth, I think he just left the Parabolica when Kimi Raikkonen started braking for that first chicane, and he still got up alongside him and passed him into the first chicane.
It was. I mean, he did it in
Wow.
Azerbaijan as well.
He did, yeah. Everybody talks about what a great feel for the brake pedal Max Verstappen has, and how he's able to outbrake cars into corners that he shouldn't be able to outbrake. He passes in places he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
I think we can also hand that mantle to Danny Ricciardo. He's very very good at doing that sort of pass. It's the amount of self-belief that he must have is incredible, and he
trust in the car as
yeah,
well.
absolutely, yeah. And he was so relaxed in the car when he was told that Massa was the next one up ahead and he was all alone. His response was good. I like them vulnerable.
And I'm sure there was a raised eyebrow in the Stevens household when he said that.
I just realised that I've got more in common with Daniel Ricciardo than a smile.
Didn't know Danny Rick was really ginger. Fantastic performance from both drivers.
Yeah, great drive from both drivers. Yeah, it would have been really interesting to see how well Max would have done had he not had that early puncture.
Yeah.
On the plus side, he finished.
He did finish. He did finish.
I've got to admit, when we were doing the live blog,
And we saw him going a bit
he's
slow.
with one wheel hanging off. And like, oh, I actually put looks like Max is out again.
I thought he was out as well because I thought he broke the steering column.
It looked like
Yeah.
the suspension had
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
I did mention as well, because it was something that we did miss earlier on, McLaren's commemorative orange overalls for the Sparko anniversary.
Yeah, McLaren celebrating 40 years with Sparko, so they made the most hideous Dayglow safety clothing ever.
I
Orange is
quite-
not a lucky colour this year in
I
Formula
quite
1.
liked The overalls.
Yeah, but orange is not a lucky colour in Formula One this year, is it? McLaren's been racing in orange. Terrible. The Orange Army turned out to watch Max Verstappen.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Were they for Max Verstappen? I thought they were Irish.
Well,
That's what Lewis said, so it must be true.
Irish orange, yeah. Irish orange.
We'll move swiftly on to Ferrari. They screwed up, according to Marchione.
They sucked.
I don't think they screwed up. I think
That's what
they weren't
Marchione
fast
said.
enough.
Yeah.
The engine wasn't there.
The Saturday, they didn't know whether to... And they also didn't know what Mercedes were doing. And they thought after Saturday, well, it's all right. Mercedes may have put on a little bit more wing for tomorrow, just to get grid position today. We'll get that back tomorrow at the race.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen. Mercedes actually... It was a 53-lap race, and lap 23, a radio message went through to Lewis Hamilton with an engine code,
Yeah, turn your engine down.
which essentially was
strategy mode 9. Get out and push, and you've still got this.
yeah, which was essentially turn your engine off, mate. Coast it round, and he was coasting around the corners and still pulling half a second out of Vettel per lap.
You could tell as well, because I think that's the only reason he went off. You know, because he was in such autopilot mode.
Yeah,
No, it was live Instagramming.
from his cockpit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually trying to convince everyone that it was playing F1 2017.
Which he may well have been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
But-
Trials Fusion was the game of choice on Saturday for him and Bottas.
Yeah.
But
But I was going to say,
Codemasters must be fucking raging with that.
Yeah, new Formula One game out.
There's a rabbit on this and a unicorn.
Two drivers playing a PlayStation game while waiting for the Grand Prix. What are they playing? Something 3 years old by another company.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
But I've got to admit, Transfusion is pretty good.
Props to Bottas,
For half
though.
an hour.
Props to Bottas in this race because he, I think, did he start fourth behind Ocon and Stroll?
Yeah.
A very careful start. Could have tried to gun it past the two youngsters. Didn't. Very, very careful at the start. Quite cautious. Lost a place to Raikkonen and then thought, I'm not having this. Powered past Raikkonen, powered past the two youngsters and solidified that second place by closing the gap to Lewis to around about 3.5 seconds and just sat there the whole race. I'm here basically saying to Mercedes, I mean, pretty much Mercedes would have said to him, sit there, but basically saying, I can do this, and if something goes wrong with Lewis, I'm here to pick up the win.
Yeah.
You know, so and it was a dominant performance by the Mercedes. Ferrari's heartland, their homeland. You know, the stands were full of red and Ferrari flags, as they always are at Monza. But you've got Lewis Hamilton. He broke Michael Schumacher's pole record on Saturday, so he's now got 69 pole positions to Schumacher's 68. He did it in something like 100 fewer races or something.
Yeah.
48 fewer.
48 fewer races, is it? 48 fewer races. And then you've got the title lead being taken away from a Ferrari driver.
From Sebastian, the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah. He's the first time he's led a championship and had the lead taken away from him.
Yeah.
Done at Monza to the Ferrari driver.
Mercedes' performance.
That 1-2 with the Vettel third. All right, Vettel finished third. That's great for Ferrari to have a driver on the podium because there was, if you go back 3 or 4 years, Ferrari on the podium would have been wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ferrari driver on the podium, but the power, the weird sort of German force that was felt when those two Mercedes appeared from the trees around the Ascari bends side by side. That was. There's no way you can't tell me that wasn't deliberate.
No,
That was a massive finger up to Ferrari.
Yeah.
It was, Bottas and Hamilton side by side, the two silver arrows on the cool down lap. They wouldn't let anyone pass. I think Daniel Ricciardo was desperate to get past them to get to the cool down bit first. But coming out into those stands on the way to the Parabolica, side by side,
Even
silver
in
arrows.
the paddock afterwards, like Hamilton made a point, if you noticed, when when he congratulated Bottas, and he'd gone and hugged his team and stuff like that. When he came back to Bottas, he made a point of putting his arm around him, pointing him towards the cameras.
Yeah.
So they were stood together in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very Schumacher era Ferrari performance from
By Mercedes. Yeah.
You had your lead driver, who's clearly who you're backing in the World Championship, which got pole by like half a second,
1.1 seconds.
but off from second.
Yeah,
Was he
Hamilton was
really?
1.1 seconds faster than second place.
No, but is that what wasn't?
Is that 1.1
It
seconds
was 1.1
faster than the
seconds ahead
second
of-
fastest qualifier, or the guy who
Yeah,
started
I'm pretty
second?
sure it's 1.1. Well, I would Google it. I've got 1% left.
Yeah, I thought he was half a second quicker than Verstappen, but like a full second ahead of Bottas.
That may be the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely 1.1 seconds at some point.
Yeah, I was amazed. I was amazed how happy Bottas was as well.
For finishing second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems to have relaxed.
Well, coming out of Belgium, the news was basically that Bottas's deal for 2018 is pretty much done. They're just sort of finalising a few bits here and there, and it looks like he's going to get a 2-year extension of his 1-year contract.
It was 1.1 seconds faster than Verstappen.
Yeah,
Was he?
1.1 seconds
Motherfucker! I didn't see that.
over
Yeah.
a second faster.
Lewis 135.5.
Because when Verstappen...
Sorry, it was 1.2. Lewis 135.5. Verstappen 136.7.
How much was he with the front than Bottas?
Bottas was 137.8. Lewis was a second and a half faster than Stroll, who started second.
Right.
So that's where you get the 1.5 seconds from. But Stroll was only 0.3 down on Verstappen and 0.2 down on Ricciardo.
I know why this is news to me all of a sudden, because I fucking threw the towel in, didn't I? Went to the pub and watched it in the pub. So there was no sound.
If only there'd been some kind of live blog to look at on your phone that puts the times up.
You know, like the one that Paul does on Saturdays.
I
Like
mean,
me spending 4.5 hours in front of a computer
I
Saturday
remember
afternoon.
to do it when I was in Germany.
So you can do it in Germany, but you can't do it in a pub 200 yards up the road.
Looks like it.
So yeah, it was a dominant qualifying performance and a dominant weekend all round by Mercedes, for which Ferrari had no answer.
No, none whatsoever.
And when you look at the calendar and you go forward from here, you've got to say Singapore's probably going to suit the Ferraris a bit better than Monza did.
You'd hope.
Mercedes, generally speaking, don't do very well in Singapore.
Hamilton did awfully last year. Like he just wasn't on at all. And but it's an odd one for him because he's usually pretty good at street circuits, isn't he?
Yeah.
So who
But,
knows?
Yeah, Mercedes, generally speaking, don't do very well in Singapore. And then you've
Saying
got...
that he had the whole Rosberg problem. There.
Exactly, yeah. But you've got Malaysia, Japan.
Yeah.
In Malaysia, Ferrari, you could argue Ferrari might be all right in Malaysia.
Japan's a power circuit.
Japan is. Austin,
Austin's a half and half, and Austin's a Silverstone.
sort of.
Yeah.
I know
With,
part of it
with
is...
slightly more hills.
Yeah.
yeah, part of it is actually off of Silverstone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's Herman Tilke's tribute circuit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's half Silverstone, half Spa.
Yeah.
With a bit of Turkey and Germany thrown in there.
Well, it's not a Tilke circuit, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I think so.
I'll go have a little look.
It is.
It's not. It's an American guy.
I shall look this up now while you're talking, but we've had this conversation before, and I said it wasn't.
I'm sure it's not because it's good.
Some Tilke circuits aren't terrible.
No, some
Malaysia.
cir- yeah.
Malaysia's good.
I'm afraid to say
Is it?
it's a Tilke circuit.
Is it really?
It is.
Motherfucker. But isn't it strange how they only get one guy to design the circuits? There must be other circuit builders in the world. I realise it's a niche market.
Yeah.
One tyre supplier, one circuit supplier.
To rule them all.
Lord of the Hockenheim Ring.
Yeah.
Does that mean Bernie's scrambling around his house going, where is the precious?
Yeah, maybe. Perhaps.
2 Gollum impressions in one podcast. We're screwed. Right, so, hero of the day then. We all know who driver of the day was, but hero of the day?
I think it's the same guy.
I think it's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And villain? We had one on Twitter. Let me just see who that was. James Corbett. Ericsson for villain. Stephen Hawking is fucking quicker than him in his wheelchair.
It was
He's not wrong.
Do you know what? It was his 27th birthday, wasn't it, this weekend? Marcus Ericsson.
Does that mean he gets another mile an hour?
No,
Oh.
no. I was thinking more on the lines of people normally only stick around in F1 if they've been in it for a few years.
Yeah.
At 27,
Yeah.
if they're good,
Yeah.
Or if their backers
own the
fund
team.
the team.
It's a bit of a if not now when age, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Fred Vasseur needs to have a quiet little word with...
I think Fred Vasseur needs to go on a very long holiday and come back when the team are not sober anymore.
I think he needs to take his Ericsson out the back and shoot him, and then just come in and say, "Sorry."
We've taken him to a racing series upstate.
It's the one that Jensen Button lives on.
Yeah. Where are we going? Where are we going, Fred? We're going to speak to a man about your Ferrari drive. Now let's just go around the corner together. What are we taking the gun for? Just protection.
Starting pistol. See how your reactions are.
But it's a shotgun. No, it's not.
Only because you've sold the ends off.
It's just a long-handled pistol.
Do we have a villain of the day? Possibly,
The FIA, I was going to say,
yeah, whoever came up with the bloody penalties.
and whoever kept deciding, oh, we'll give it another 15 minutes. Oh, we'll give it another 15 minutes. Oh, we'll give it another 15 minutes.
That may have been Charlie White and it may have been the stewards. Nobody was entirely clear on that on Saturday.
No one wanted to own up to who kept making the wrong decision.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any villains.
Mutual Haas drivers, or Alonso for the way he took the Palmer thing.
Shall we have some sad Alonso now?
Let's
Sad.
have some sad Alonso.
Sad Alonso time.
Sad Alonso.
Okay, Fernando. G10. If you've got a read for balance, then I suggest box this lap. Perez is +3.
I don't know. Maybe another lap would be nice. I have no power.
Stand by, we're looking into it. Watch out for Palmer. He's on a timed lap.
No power.
Fernando, try default 05.
It doesn't work. The upshifts are terrible.
Okay, understood, Fernando. We are looking into it.
Turn 4. Palmer cut the chicane.
We saw it on the video and we've informed the race director.
Guys, I'm sorry, but we need to do something.
Default 03.
And the Palmer thing should be a no-brainer. What a joke. 5 seconds. What a joke. Bottas, what a driver. How much time he lose in the blue flag for not waiting. Amazing. Any gap? We racing with anyone for the rest of the race?
Fernando, Stoffel has retired. We're racing Sainz ahead. He's on 21 lap old primes. Gap is 14 seconds. Fernando, Palmer has retired.
Karma.
Palmer has retired. Palmer has retired. Ahead of Sainz, there's also Kvyat and Hulkenberg fighting for position, so may come back towards us.
Are we quicker?
At the moment, similar pace, though their tyres are much older.
Poor Fernando.
Oh well, hopefully things will be better for him come Singapore, but probably not.
Well, they might be potentially better for him this week because the engine go round is still going round. I'm starting to sound
It's
like
like-
him now.
It's like Ross and Rachel from Friends. It's will they, won't they?
Ross and Rachel, except this time it's Fernando and... Oh no, it's not even Fernando, is it? Well, it is kind of Fernando. Fernando and McLaren, Fernando and Honda, McLaren and Honda. It's a love triangle.
Fernando, Zach and Cyril.
2.5 men.
And just like 2.5 Men, this really isn't funny.
And it's been going on for far too long.
So does that mean Ashton Kutcher's going to turn up? So basically, the situation stands at the moment that Renault might be going in the back of a McLaren next year, and Toro Rosso getting the Honda, which the negotiations are back on. And by the time you've listened to this, there goes my e-cig, everything will have been officially denied and screwed up again.
It'll either get confirmed whilst you're listening to this podcast, or has already been confirmed, or will be, as Paul just said, completely denied, and the story is completely changed again.
Well, Hasegawa's turned around today, didn't he, and said that their Honda are desperate to convince McLaren to stay with them.
It's now got to the point where, I mean, Hasegawa's already gone through the "I can change for you" thing. You know, what, you'll never find anyone else like me.
He's now into the angry stage, going, "No, we're fine as we are. Why are you doing this to us?"
It's the 5 stages of the grievance procedure, isn't it? The 5 stages of grief. Yeah, just gone through disbelief.
Just quickly though, like,
Unlike Honda.
this could be awful for Toro Rosso, because they are going to be the test bed to see if it's worth Honda, if it's worth Red Bull looking at Honda, aren't they?
Well, also, and don't forget that F1 needs Honda to stay in the sport as the 4th engine manufacturer, but there are other engine manufacturers who are willing to come into the sport. Now, of course, there could be 5, maybe even 6.
Looking at Honda, I think there's probably less engine manufacturers that are willing right now.
Cosworth apparently are willing and able, and have said, "Oh yeah, we can, but we're going to need some outside. We're going to need some outside backing.
Yeah.
We probably can build one of these power units." They did build one in 2014 for the 2014 season, but then didn't. It wasn't needed by the Manor team as they were at the time. So. Who knows? Maybe Cosworth perhaps come back.
I wish there was
Honda.
more.
Honda are getting help from Ilmor, aren't they? What
Yeah.
if Ilmor
Well,
decide to build their own?
That's been one thing that's been mooted, but I don't think that's now happening officially, because that was something that Toto Wolff possibly suggested.
But isn't the talks now of Ilmor, McLaren, Renault help?
Yeah. Also, one thing that I have noticed is that it's kind of, the Honda side has now kind of gone beyond Hasegawa doing the negotiations, and the actual big boss of Honda has got involved, Masashi Yamamoto,
Right.
who is now dealing with Jean Todt.
Oh God. Right. Okay.
So it's gone to the big boys, and Chase Carey's involved in the discussions as well. So F1 and the FIA are trying to keep Honda involved.
Yeah. Well, they desperately want to.
But if they're not up to the job,
I tell you what, I think it's a good, say if they had like a two-year deal, I think it's a good idea for Red Bull to stick it in a Toro Rosso.
Yeah, I think looking at the way Honda have improved this year, right off the first 2 years, because they had the fundamental design wrong, the way they've improved this year, I would be willing to. Obviously, I've not got a Formula One team and the few million that it'd take, but I'd be willing to take a punt on them.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, did no one else hear the interview with Christian Horner when he was talking about it?
And he
on
was saying
Saturday?
about the engine manufacturers who are possibly looking at coming into the sport. He
No,
did. He
it
also
was
mentioned.
just to talk about Honda in particular. I was talking about.
No, he also mentioned Lamborghini possibly entering the sport.
one thing that we did catch at the weekend as well was Sergio Marchionne saying that Formula E isn't ready for Ferrari, and he will be the man who decides when it is. It's a little bit on the arrogant side, don't you think?
Yeah, he was.
Especially when other manufacturers like Mercedes and Audi
Jaguar.
and Jaguar are all concentrating on Formula E entries. I think Toyota are looking at it as well.
Let's face it, though. Regardless of what goes on in the future with green energy and things like that, the way I see like future car production going on is you're going to have your like most of us commoners are going to end up with electric cars at some point. You know, I think.
Well, petrol cars are going to be banned from British roads in 2040, 2045.
But I bet there is a
New petrol cars.
Yeah. No, but I bet even for new petrol cars, I bet there will be some sort of Tory clause in that says like Lord Battenberg can still go and buy his brand new Ford GT40 that's just come out, which is a fucking gas guzzler. So I think what you'll find is that your car companies that are making high performance cars are still going to be using like liquid fuel in them. And for me, Ferrari will obviously have electric options, but their bread and butter is still going to be high performance, high cost, fuck the planet cars.
Like their hybrid.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not designed to save the planet.
Because there's
It's
gonna,
designed to go fast.
yeah,
Yeah.
But there's going to be some guy that's got able to drop 2 million on a car, and someone's going to say, "Oh, have you got a hybrid?" He's going to go, "Fuck no, I've got a man's car." Joe, I think that's
Yeah.
the market they're going to go for. And Formula E isn't Ferrari. I don't think it's
Well, in
it's
Hung-
not sexy enough.
Well, no, it won't be a Ferrari entry into Formula E. Do you remember the Hungarian Grand Prix? Somebody pulled Sergio Marchionne to one side.
Fiat?
Well, no,
Alpha, I think he said, didn't
No, he
he?
said Maserati. I
Oh,
think
Maserati.
was what he said. He said we're looking at it. He said we are looking at it. Maybe with Alpha, maybe with Maserati, but probably not Ferrari. So he doesn't think it'll ever be a Ferrari.
That's right. It's
thing.
not sexy enough for Ferrari.
Yeah, yeah.
Not at the moment.
No, I don't think it will be.
Unless they can find a way to sell zero emissions shirts.
No,
through
do
it.
you know why it'll never be Formula One? It'll never overtake Formula One. Is because when the technology gets good enough to make the cars quick enough and make the cars last enough, then Formula One might as well do something similar.
Yeah.
And then because Formula One, like circuit racing, will always be more entertaining to watch than a full street circuit championship in my eyes. Because
Yeah.
it just the essence of
This is a bit of road that has been designed for cars
Yeah.
to race each other on.
yeah, the reason they bang wheels and the reason there's racing in Formula E right now is because they're fucking slow compared to Formula One cars.
Yeah.
When those cars get better and they get faster, all you're going to find is it turns into a processional street circuit because they're going to be going too quick to race each other
On street circuit.
on a street
yeah.
circuit. So
Though you see a lot of IndyCar races on street circuits. I know they're not as fast as Formula
Yeah.
One, but they're a
They're a
ton
lot
faster
closer.
than Formula E.
but they're all the same car. And I think that's a massive factor.
That's
there.
like GP2 in
Yeah.
Azerbaijan, for
Yeah.
example.
Or Monaco.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
works really well because
Yeah.
they're all the same chassis.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I want that in Formula One.
I know what we're just talking about what we think Formula One should be.
Formula
now.
One is a development arms race,
Yeah.
Yes.
and it has always been, and that's how it should always be.
However, I do believe that a certain amount of standardized parts on a car, wings maybe,
Simplified
front
wings.
definitely.
Banning these towers of wings
Yeah.
upon wings, I think, is,
Yeah.
going with what Martin Brundle said when after he was taken ill at the Hungarian Grand Prix about stop loading the top surfaces with aerodynamic devices and surfaces to make it really, really difficult to follow in turbulent air, and make the floors the aerodynamic thing.
Yeah.
So that the cars are sucked to the ground
Yeah.
using aerodynamics rather than trying to push the cars down. Make sure the cars are sucked to the
Pull them down rather than
yeah,
push them.
Absolutely, yeah.
I wonder what you could do
So because
if-
that wouldn't affect turbulent, it wouldn't be affected in turbulent air then, because it's all to do with the lower pressure of air. That is all scientific now, but all to do with the lower pressure of air that goes underneath the car.
Well, what about this then? Much more because obviously, right, we've got quick Formula One cars now because we've got loads of aero on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't want Formula One cars to be slower. That's not the idea. So what about more simplified aero but then switching that with my idea where there's like a set of standardized parts. So there would be a standardized active suspension that would be used across all the cars
I know what you mean.
to
Yeah.
give more chassis grip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, active suspension is not a terrible idea.
Active suspension is fucking genius.
Yeah, and it looked that it was almost going to be replicated by the suspension which was outlawed at the beginning
Yeah.
of this year, but Mercedes and Red Bull were using.
Yeah.
Which is why you now see the Red Bulls riding with, as Dave Daddario said, you now see the Red Bulls riding with their fronts so
Unbelievable
high.
rake. Oh, isn't the rear? That's
Sorry,
high?
other way around.
Yeah,
sorry.
they look like they're going downhill when they're on
Yeah,
the
sorry.
yeah,
yeah.
Fronts so low and the rears so high.
They've always run a lot of rake though, the Red Bulls.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous this
If we're talking Formula E, we're talking like 11-1
Yes.
every race.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Other piece of news that came out this week is, surprisingly, tobacco sponsorship is definitely still a thing because Philip Morris have extended their deal with Ferrari.
What?
So, how many years are they going to be not have their advert on the Ferrari cars for? Multi years.
Yes. So the name isn't on there. We don't know how long that they're going to be
The
sponsoring
logo's
them
not
for.
on there.
The logo's not on there. They're not allowed to use the barcode anymore because that was too similar to the word Marlboro.
Yeah.
Smoke responsibly. And,
Or not at all.
Or not at all, to be
Yeah.
honest. Says the man with a vape in his hand.
It's not smoking.
No, fair enough.
It's you just giving a robot a blowjob.
Yeah, but it tastes this one tastes a caramelised pear.
Must be what it ate.
Throw me completely now. Anyone see the new F2 car this weekend as well, by the way?
Looks awesome.
It does.
The halo looks great on it.
The halo looks good on it. Martin Brundle was slagging the halo off, and I felt
why?
I was getting angry with him because hang on, that's a prototype. The halo has just been bolted on. It's not there as part of the design. It's just showing that the halo will be on there.
Yeah.
Because the halo decision was only made for Formula 2 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was just
do you
the Formula
think-
1 Halo, wasn't it, that was stuck on?
Yeah.
I think so. Do you think the new F2 looks quite similar to, from the front end, definitely the IndyCar? The Lara chassis. I think it looks quite similar in ways.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
There's definite similarities in there. It's not got the full OTT wedge-shaped aero kit, but I'm used to seeing the ones in the oval aero kit.
Yeah.
Which when you get what's the name, Sam Pagino's bright yellow car, it looks like some slightly off cheese. But no, it does have similarities with the Dallara Indy chassis.
Yeah, I thought so. Especially that front end, sort of from the cockpit forward, it looks very, very much like the design for the Indy cars
Yeah.
that was released.
It
not that
does
long
look
ago.
nice and quick.
Aggressive looking cars, they do attract viewers,
Yeah. And
and the racing in F2 is good.
it's great. There's a lot of wheel-to-wheel stuff. Seriously, if you've not watched any F2 this season, you're a moron. Sorry, why?
Yeah, no, watch F2. F2, if you've got the ability to watch F2, don't know if the does F2 go to the American market? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but they do highlights packages on YouTube after the race.
Well, there you go.
So watch it on
Used
that
to be
because-
called GP2, is now called F2.
So it's something different for Alonso to compare the engine to this season. I think
Yeah.
that's the only one. You've been holding that guitar for quite a while.
Well, I didn't realise we were going to go quite that long into that section. But
The fact that it says news and we haven't done the Renault Red Bull veto properly, but yeah,
well, Red Bull could
And I
veto the
didn't-
Renault in the back of the McLaren.
yeah, I've now forgotten my Helmut Marko joke.
Oh.
So I was keeping an eye out for when to drop it in. That wasn't the one. That was a completely fresh one.
Chris, play a tune.
Yeah.
My total shunts bring the boys to the yard and they're crashier than yours. Damn right, I crash harder than yours, but I'd have to crash the total shunts bring the boys to the yard, and that's enough of this for now.
That was unexpected.
It was unexpected.
Completely.
It's a spillover from the Patreon.
Although if you listen to the Patreon show first, it might not have been. If you haven't listened to the Patreon show and you want to be able to and you haven't pledged yet, go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels.
There
Do
you
it
go.
now, because we want some money off you. I was
Or
born
when you get home.
in 1980.
Under a wandering star.
Sorry, you were born when?
In 1980.
Makes you 30.
Oh, sorry, in the 1980s.
Oh, in the 1980s.
yeah.
Oh, right.
So you could be 37 or you could be 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Vague.
So it still could be him.
Right, so you could be Marcus Ericsson.
No, this is about people connected with motor racing.
He knows
No,
some
Marcus
investors in
Marcus
a Formula 1
Ericsson's
team.
just turned 27, so he would have been born in 1990.
So it's not Marcus Ericsson.
So it's not Marcus Ericsson.
So it is a driver.
Right.
I have an FIA licensed circuit corner named after me. I'm convinced you could have written that in a more sensible way to say it.
Possibly. But just want to point out, Dan, we really missed you last week for
I missed you too.
for Total Shunt.
Although last week was another one where the answer came out, but we didn't go for it.
Yes.
And I lost all my smug points.
Yes.
Damn.
Hang on, I was here last week.
Yes,
wasn't
you
I?
were.
Were you here last? Oh, it was 2 weeks ago. When am I?
I was waiting for someone to pick up on that, but then nobody did.
So it's a driver with a corner at a circuit named after them. Like the Senna S's. Only it's probably not.
Bruno Senna.
Don't think they're named after Bruno.
No. And Ayrton Senna's 1960, so that's two.
That little-known Belgium Formula 4 driver that never really got anywhere, Stuart Eau Rouge.
He sounds more Irish.
That's all the orange.
Anyway,
Not Simon Beckett's.
next one.
We ready?
Yep.
Yeah. Then we need a guess after this one.
I am known as a bit of a whiner.
How old's Beaker?
Does Grosjean have a circuit, have a corner named after him?
Romain Grosjean corner. Somebody who whines a lot on the radio. Yeah, well, come on. The obvious one's going to be Grosjean, hasn't it?
I will remind you that he said corner, not empire. Moving on.
Yeah, but an FIA licensed circuit.
Yeah, but an FIA licensed circuit, I mean, there's
All of
there's plenty of them. I mean, Esterill's still got a license, and so's Jerez.
Yeah, but as I'm trying to think of any circuits near Geneva that he might have, because he was born in Geneva, so would they
Well,
have?
there used to be a Swiss Grand Prix.
Yeah, but motor racing.
I asked that question in the pub quiz the other week.
Motor racing is
you'd-
banned.
Which you'd have known about if you'd have been there.
Motor racing is back. Wasn't the last one in 1954?
There was one in 1980, but that was in France. But anyway,
There
technicalities.
we go.
Yeah, we're gonna have to give it a guess. Should we
Romain Grosjean.
Yeah, we'll
shall
just
we
say Grosjean for Grosjean for the first guess.
Okay, so I'm writing down Romain Grosjean.
I met my wife when I signed my autograph on her stomach.
So he's married. Or
Ro-
she.
Romain Grosjean is married. I believe his wife's name is Marion.
When did he meet her?
No idea.
An autograph session?
If he's got his signature on his wife, I would suggest he's got massive security issues.
Yeah. Now remember that signature I did on your stomach? Get that tattooed.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah. Property of. Yeah, you've actually got my trademark on your stomach. I own that, therefore I own you.
Do you want my first name and surname? There's room for it.
Ooh.
Next clue, please.
Just before you give that, I'm wondering about Kimi Räikkönen. Where did he meet his wife?
In a pub.
You're doing the shopping, apparently, according to the interview we did on Sunday. Well, not on Sunday, the interview that was shown on Sunday.
Did she ask him to sign anything?
Possibly.
Anyway, carry on.
Kimi Räikkönen's a potential. But with it being a driver...
Then so's any
any married
racing
driver who
associated person
Yeah.
Maybe he,
between the ages of 27 and 37.
maybe he met her in the supermarket, didn't have his checkbook with him, so signed her stomach and tried to use her as a check.
She's Finnish.
That's allowed in Finland, by the way.
Only because the cashier's as drunk as the customer.
It's better nowadays because back in the 80s, you used to have to put them through one of those clunky machines, and it was very messy.
It was.
I raced professionally on 4 wheels and 2.
On 4 and 2 wheels.
Kimi Räikkönen's raced on 4 wheels and 1 ski and a couple of tyre chains.
On
Yeah.
snowmobiles. Well, yeah, it's sort of 2 skis, isn't it, on the front and
One,
yeah.
1 ski on the front, 2 chains on the back or something.
Something like that.
I think Kimi Räikkönen's raced pretty much anything that will go forward.
But talk about
Has he
racing.
raced them professionally?
I was reading about him. He wanted a
Fernando
powerboat.
Alonso has raced motorcycles.
Kimi Räikkönen once raced a powerboat with 2 of his mates in the team, and they were all dressed in gorilla suits.
Nice.
Hang on.
Are we coming at this from the wrong angle?
Is it Fernando Alonso?
Is it a motorbike racer who's had a couple of races in Formula... Well,
In a car.
in a car?
That is a possibility.
We could be looking at something like
Rossi has rallied, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, Rossi's rallied, but
Rossi?
he's not married though, is he? Valentino Rossi?
Has
I
he
don't-
rallied professionally? Oh
Yeah,
he
yeah,
has,
he has,
hasn't he?
yeah. Yeah,
No, I believe he's a confirmed bachelor, isn't he?
I think so.
Very, very single.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like Andy Peters.
Oh God, no! Valentino Rossi presenting kids TV.
I wouldn't be able to understand him.
I just think it's awfully nice.
I speak a little bit of Italian, but I don't understand Valentino Rossi.
I just think it's awfully nice that his best mate travels with him
Everywhere. Anyway, so do we think Fernando Alonso? I think he's possibly raced two wheels professionally at some point.
That's quite possible.
I don't know where.
And
I don't know
he's-
where he met his wife.
He's
Also a little
quite
bit whiny on the radio.
Yeah, quite likely to have a corner named after him.
Yeah, especially at a circuit in Spain.
Like the FIA licensed karting track that he owns.
Well,
Would he name one of the corners after himself?
I think Alonso as a world champion is more likely to have a corner named after him than Romain Grosjean.
Yes.
I like the idea of Alonso's kart track just being
Is
Alonso
that-
1, Alonso 2, Alonso 3.
So you ran. You
It's
went
the only
through.
way. It's the only way you get to see Alonso 1 this year.
So you went through the Alonso S's, and then you came out of the Alonso Hill. When you came out of Alonso 8,
Straight into the Alonso chicane
yeah,
before the banking section.
Yeah, and
The
then the-
Alonso Bank.
and then the Alonso Straight.
I thought the Alonso Bank was Santander. Carry on.
Do we need? How many is that? Is that 5?
Yes, you can have one more.
Okay.
I'm a keen fisherman and I'm often seen on my local fishing television show.
What?
No idea. I am no help. Absolutely zero of it.
A keen fisherman who's often on his local TV fishing program.
Robson Green.
No, Robson Green.
He did extreme fishing.
I think he's the wrong age, though.
Yeah.
I think he's the wrong type of sportsman.
Yeah.
Who's a keen fisherman? Ross Brawn liked
Wait.
to fish.
We're assuming it's Formula One related.
We are, but we don't know
It
because this is our
might
area
not
of
be,
expertise.
Yeah. I've got nothing. Can we just say Fernando Alonso and go for the next lot of clues?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I tend not to watch a lot of Spanish fishing channels, so I don't know if Alonso's on there a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows much about fishing. Might do. I have no idea.
I have wrong clue. In 2009, I did not take part in all the races in the series I was in.
Felipe Massa had his injury in 2009. But that's if the series we were talking about is F1.
He knows. We know that he's married.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's ever raced on two wheels professionally.
When we talk about somebody,
Or,
when he comes about whiny a little bit off track, yeah, Massa tends to whine in the pit interviews quite a bit, doesn't he? Goes on a little bit.
I
bit,
find
yeah.
Massa's most whiny when he opens his mouth.
it's a shame that I know that he did the full season, otherwise I had the perfect one for Giancarlo Fishing Keller.
Oh. He did do the full 2009 series.
Yes.
But he was in 2 teams that year. Because of Massa's accident.
So that means it could equally be Luca Badoa. He did 2 races.
Yeah, but is Luca Badoa too old to be born in the 80s?
Well, he's too slow.
Well, he was a racing driver in 1993, so unless he's 13,
Probably not Luca Badoa.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not near.
You ready
it.
for another clue?
Yeah, I think so.
we are.
I am a 2-time world champion.
Does not Felipe Massa and sounds more like Fernando Alonso again?
It's
But world champion at what event?
it could be world champion on 2 wheels, so it could be world superbike.
Alonso's done some serious cycling, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Distance?
The 2 wheels could be cycling, not
Yeah.
motorcycling.
Oh yeah.
I hate these questions. I've had to doctor a couple of these because, like, essentially the last 3 questions were Spaffer questions.
Or the last 3 of them.
And the horrible thing about the last question is, it's going to be confusing. I don't mean it to be confusing, but to actually
Makes sense.
to give it you as he's written it, I might as well just tell you the answer.
How old's Alex Zanardi?
Not born in the 80s. Alex Zanardi again was a
think he
racing
might
driver.
be
His bike's
40.
got
Well,
3
again, he was
wheels.
racing in the early 90s, so he wasn't born in the 80s.
Yeah.
Anyone see Zanardi came second in the World Paracycling Championship 60-kilometre race.
Nearly won it.
Nearly won it. There was
Yes, we saw that because of your joke on the thread.
yeah, but yeah, he lost. He lost by about 1/10 of a second after 60 kilometres.
Good God.
In a sprint finish.
He's a fucking inspiration. That
He's a
man,
machine.
isn't he? Like, crazy.
Yeah.
He's one of those people. Like, I'd imagine if if I ever met The Rock, and I think after speaking to The Rock for like 30 seconds, I would just analyse my whole life and all my failings up to that point. I think Zanardi's very similar.
I think Zanardi's win was so short. It was, oh damn it! Why wasn't the bike a little bit longer?
Yeah.
That was big of you, that, Paul, because there was a much worse option there.
I know there was. But I'll keep that one in private. But no, again, he's just seriously that good. But I just thought it could have been him because he won 2 IndyCar titles, but he might be a bit too old.
Yeah, he wasn't born in the 80s, Zanardi.
Well, he's probably paracycling world champion.
I was
more
going to
than
say
once.
how many world championships has he won since he took
Yeah.
up paracycling is the other question. Yes.
Go on, Lee. Another clue, please.
This is your last clue.
Oh, heck.
This is only number 9, isn't it?
Yeah, but you said number 10 to essentially Spaffer.
No, I meant it. This was the last one. He must just give me 9 questions. I have raced for 2 teams. One of them is Honda.
So I think we are looking at a Honda motorbike racer.
I'm going to try and see if I can get you a question 10 on the fly, talking amongst yourselves.
Mark Marquez would be a bit too young, would he?
Born in 1993 because that's his number.
Yeah.
Because he races
Right.
he races in 93. So not him. Rossi's out.
Yep.
Not literally. Have I edited that?
No, Rossi's out because he broke his leg. He is out of the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And he's unmarried.
And he's unmarried.
He's unmarried, yeah, completely.
Likes to keep lots of his stuff in the closet.
Yep, the edit's getting used.
Yeah.
I drove for 2 teams.
We're back to tripping in IKEA again, aren't we?
I drove for 2 teams, one of which was Honda. I drove for 2 teams.
So
Honda drivers.
Honda drivers when
Jenson Button
has
drove
driven
for Williams.
McLaren, Honda, BAR, Benetton,
Would you like a 10th
Braun.
question?
and Braun.
But a lot of those were the same team.
Would you like a 10th question?
A 10th question would probably be helpful.
I have driven V8 supercars.
Casey Stoner.
V8 supercars are
It's the Australian version.
they're Australian.
Yeah.
Casey Stoner. Met his wife while signing something, born in the 80s, two-time world champion, raced on 2 and 4 wheels, known as being a little bit whiny.
Yeah,
It's Casey Stoner.
we'll go with that.
I'll write down the third one. It might not be Casey Stoner, but that's the one I'm going for. I think it is anyways, unless
We'll go
anybody
for it.
else wants to throw anything
I've got
else
nothing
in.
better.
No, Chris, ask the question.
Are you Casey Stoner?
I'm Casey Stoner.
Oh, we're back
I'm
on.
so happy
we're
he's
back
got
on winning
that.
ways.
No, I'm so happy he's got that because the last couple of questions, where are we that I had? Where are they? I took them down because I was looking.
Oh, come on, Lee.
Thanks Ryan as well, by the way. Ryan Sayer sent that in for me.
Ryan,
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. That was a
Cheers,
really
that
tough
was
one.
a bloody good one.
Yeah. The clues were ambiguous, which is what we hate but like at the same time.
The 2009 Missing Races was I missed 3 races in 2009 due to mystery illness. I
right,
remember
okay.
Casey Stoner being sick and missing races, so I thought that was a bit of a gimme, that one.
Right.
And then the last one was I raced in MotoGP for Honda and Ducati.
That would have been the giveaway. Yeah, keep the total shunts coming in.
Yeah, thanks.
Send them directly to Lee.
Yeah, and if you think they're too easy, don't worry about it because I can fuck around with them on the fly and make them slightly harder if need be.
Absolutely. But thank you very much for that one, Ryan. You nearly got us.
Yeah.
Nearly got us.
Right, Formula Lee, the first race on F1 2017, and coincidentally, the most popular Formula Lee race that we have ever had.
Over 50 entries for one race.
Yeah, we had,
That's-
and it was a 1 weeker as well. We had 53/54 entries.
That's mental. Why 53/54? Has somebody been late?
No, somebody entered twice.
Oh, Ian Walker.
Ian Walker entered
Special
twice.
mention, Ian Walker.
Yeah, he put in a time on his PlayStation, and then he went to Monza to watch the race, and he went to the Ferrari exhibition
Yeah.
publicity area, and had a go in a simulator. He wasn't going to do, but then I said, if you send a time in, we'll put it on the Formula Lee scoreboard. So he said, right, sod it, I'm paying €25 and I'm going to do it. We are that good, we can actually get a Yorkshireman to part with cash.
It's better than the fucking Ferrari simulator I was on when I was there. It was like a Ferrari GT car, yeah?
Yeah.
But it wasn't a game, it wasn't a real game, it was a proper GT car. So you paid your €15 for a go in it. You got in it, but the wheel was motion tracked by a Kinect, and then that was connected to a PC. So when you turned the wheel, you turned the wheel and went 1, 2, car turns.
Oh, right.
It was
okay.
fucking awful.
Like piloting a hovercraft.
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. It was horrible.
Which I have done, by the way. So,
Mm.
you pilot a hovercraft, you turn the handlebars, and then about 2 seconds later, you turn.
Yeah. Well, piloting a hovercraft, from what I understand, is if you think you're going to hit something, it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Oh,
Yeah. If you
Sorry!
Think, yeah. If you think you might have to avoid something, too late. So you're hitting it.
Max Chilton thought his car was a hovercraft.
so yeah, just want to say Ian's time of 1:34.496 would put him on the bottom of the timesheets. But
Is
I think-
that was a simulated
But
time?
that was in his simulator.
Right.
And I don't think, looking at what the screen was, it wasn't Formula 1 2017 anyway.
No,
so
I think it was Ferrari's own bespoke
proper
one.
simulator.
It was proper simulator software.
So well done for getting round.
Yes. He had 3 goes and he was getting gradually faster. He was kind of Kubica in it.
Yeah.
Still better than Luca Badoa.
But on to the sharp end. Wow. It got fast. I was thinking when we started it was going to be something in the low 122s good enough to get points. Not even close.
No.
No, you needed to be 121.7,
Motherfucker.
which none of the 4 of us achieved.
No.
So in reverse order for this room, Dan, you get the Millennials
I took part.
Participation Trophy. 123.732. Chris, you were next. That was good enough for 44th place overall, by the way.
Out of
53.
That's about
Scary.
8 places higher than I thought I'd be.
That's nosebleed territory for Dan.
Unfortunately, it's pressure piling on his head and exploding his face territory for Chris, because he came 43rd, one place above Dan with a 123.482.
Well, there we go.
I managed 30th, which I'm really happy with.
Good stuff, Paul.
122.647. Just lost time on the Parabolica every bloody lap. And Lee, you came top out of us, but you still didn't make the points. You were 16th with a 122.097.
I'm happy to be top 20 out of that many people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Good effort.
But on to the top 10. We have 10th place, Joseph Heilman, 121.746. 9th, I hope I get this right because I panic every time he sets the first time. Vicha or Vicha Camping, 121.682. Cody Davis in 8th, 121.662. Ollie Vestley, 7th place, 121.529. Luke Nipper, poor showing from you this week, mate. Occasional winner, usual podium sitter, only in 6th, 121.498. Tom Cahill was 5th, 121.463, and Carl Jarazec, 121.413 in 4th. Top 3. 3rd place, Jeff Sharp.
Ooh, Jeff.
Jeff,
Jeff,
what are you doing?
3rd, 121.193.
Stuart Hamilton, isn't he? He's calling it in.
Yeah, Jeff, turn your engine mode up. It doesn't actually count. You're not limited to a number of engines you use. Although I'm now on my 3rd controller for the season because I've broken 2.
How? Wow.
Do you know what? I've broken my controller from a PlayStation 4, but it's still usable. I've broken it by squeezing the accelerator trigger so hard that the plastic underneath it is actually broken off.
I've broken the left control stick on 2 controllers. You know how it's a perfect circle that the control stick's got to turn in?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's kind of Q-shaped.
Do you know, I've never broken a video game controller.
You never had an Atari 2600. You used to go through one joystick a week with if you had
Second place.
Activision Decathlon. Second place, Simon Joy, 121.064. And winning with...
Just another win for...
This is another win for Chris Olby.
Well
and
done.
This is the tightest it's ever been at the top because Chris Olby wins by 0.02 of a second.
Good Lord.
121.062.
Is that his first shunt?
That is his...
Second win?
That, you're going to make me look
I think Chris
Olby
Olby won last week, didn't he?
Yeah, Chris Olby won last week.
Well done, Chris.
What was
Olby.
that? He's a newer entrant though, isn't he?
He is, yes. He is... Let's have a look.
If
He
you-
has done 6 races, but he still managed 4th in the overall points table.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, for the top 3, which at the moment is Jeff, Luke and Pete Bull, who was outside the points this week,
Yeah.
watch out behind you.
Absolutely.
What are the points for?
What are the points? At the minute, Jeff Sharp is leading the table on 309. Luke Nipper is in second on 180. Pete Bull in third on 141. Chris in fourth, 116. And Finn Wilson is currently 5th place on 90 points.
So if you think you can come along for the last few races of the season and take the crown away from Jeff or Chris, you know, just get your name up there into the top 5.
Well,
And there's prizes as well, aren't
there's
there?
prizes for the top 10, and we've got a couple of extra prizes as well that Zach and Niall have donated. But of course, the prizes for the top 10 come from the same company that supply the weekly prizes, which is Ultraflix.
Yep.
Which is £10 in Amazon vouchers for the winner, £5 for second place, and £2 for third. Amazon UK vouchers, which get sent by us, or if you're in the US, we can send Amazon.com vouchers.
Yeah.
And if you're in any other country, we then panic completely and work out what the hell
we'll
to
work
do.
something out.
We'll suss something out. So that means we need a challenge for Singapore.
We do Singapore.
They make
Well,
nice noodles.
I don't like the Singapore track. I'm just going to say it now. I don't like it.
I'm not keen on it either, and I think it's a very difficult track.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have it in the wet. No
I
wet.
actually quite like Singapore now. You said it's not going to be in the wet, so I'm happy.
So yeah, not in the wet, and car. Got loads of new cars now, haven't we?
We've got all this year's cars.
Yeah. Let's have it in a Mercedes. Let's have a Mercedes.
Singapore, Mercedes, dry.
Yeah.
Do we think it matters if we do it at night time or daytime?
I don't think it
Dun,
matters.
dun,
Don't think the time of day matters.
I would say to everyone then that if you're going to do the challenge, do it in the daytime, because because there's better visibility.
And it's probably going to be quicker track.
Yeah.
But you can choose if
You
you
can
if
do
you're
what you
better
want.
at night.
Yeah, but that by saying we can do it in the day, then that means the advantage is to follow the rules, not a disadvantage to cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do that.
So okay, Singapore in a Mercedes, whatever time of day you want, but it's dry.
It'll be nice actually. It'd be nice to see, like, looking at the timings on the, like the official leaderboard.
Yeah,
Now we're using
see-
Mercedes. If any of our fast guys can threaten the top guys in the world.
And if you have Formula 1 2017, the Codemasters version, for the PlayStation 4, for the Xbox or the PC, and you think you can dethrone our kings of Formula Lee,
Yeah.
Or you just want to join in for a laugh?
yeah, just
Because we've had, how many new entries did we get this week? It was
a whole handful.
there was
if
an
not
absolute
more so.
rake load. I am looking here.
I believe the collective noun for Formula Lee drivers is a clutch.
A whole clutch of Formula Lee
I think we had
drivers.
about 20 new people joined this week for this
Yeah.
race.
Right. Welcome along, everyone.
Welcome along. The competition is tough,
But it's fun.
but it's fun. That's the most important thing. It's fun. It's fun, and if you're like me and horrendously competitive, you get angry when things don't go your way.
I've got so fuming throughout the course of this season. I've broken 2 PS4 controllers.
And to be perfectly honest, it's nice because it takes so fucking long to do a race now in the Formula 1 game with doing all the practice sessions. It's nice to be able to go on for half an hour and feel like you're fucking achieving something.
Absolutely.
So people will need to find out how to send the times in.
So you can tell them.
And I will tell them. If you're on PlayStation, send us a message and we'll add you as friends.
Yeah.
So we can see the leaderboard and we can see your times.
Put your names on. I'm sick of fucking stupid
What
gamer
I've
tags.
been doing is when everyone's been sending them in,
Close
as soon as
friend
I've
requests.
accepted friend requests,
Yeah.
I've just done real name request.
Yeah.
Because it helps putting the leaderboard together. Otherwise, you will get called something daft in public.
But there's so many of them now. I've got so many people doing it. Please, you do the name request, and I'll say yes. Because otherwise, it's going to take me a fucking hour to go through everybody.
How do you think I feel when I'm putting these spreadsheets
Well,
together?
this-
And just for anyone out there, no, I don't like spreadsheets.
Yes, of course you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
All right,
I'm
I'll-
bar charts.
All right, I play Football Manager. Leave me
Pie
alone.
chart you want for this?
Yes, Dave Gorman. You can get in touch with us by email, 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/3legs4wheels. You can tweet us at 3legs4wheels or
I'm at a total shunt.
At Flood21.
At Danbert.
and at Pablo100. And we're on Instagram as well. Just search for 3legs4wheels on there and we'll pop up. As I say, if you want to send your time in, email or send a direct message on Twitter, or if you want to find out what our PlayStation names are, because all 4 of us are on PlayStation. Sorry, Xbox and PC gamers.
You can add
don't
me on
do that.
PC at Leadrum100, but on Xbox because of the Xbox crossplay thing. I'm not going to buy Formula 1 for Xbox, but when Forza comes out, you'll probably have a friend in me.
You just want friends.
I don't. I'm quite happy with things as
That's
they
where
are.
Formula Lee started. Lee was lonely.
Yes.
Do I have to break out the sad music again? We've already
Guys.
had it once tonight.
That's how this podcast started.
If you want to get in touch with anything as well for the mailbag, which we didn't have last week, but I've got a couple this week, then please.
Same channels.
Same channels, drop us a
Absolutely.
line.
I just want to say thanks to for a personal mailbag thing from regular listener Jana for saying that my insult from last week, go away retirement boy, which what Williams might say to Felipe Massa is now her favourite new insult. And I said that works if you know somebody who's going to retire, and she said nope, everyone all the time. Go away retirement boy. If you want to use that as an insult, just
my
just do
favorite
it.
insult I've ever given out was when someone said, "Do you know such and such?" I said, "Yeah, he's a fucking flu jab of a man."
Flu jab of a man. Oh no.
I've got a slight shameless plug to give quickly.
Go on then.
It's not Banter Club, which you can come and listen to because that's still a thing. But I am working on doing a separate podcast, a comedy podcast.
Very good.
I think the working title at the minute, which is what I think we're going to stick with, is Must See Audio. And that should be recording the pilot of it this Friday. So
Ooh.
should be
Do
should be.
I
ready.
need to teach you how to use the posh software?
No, Martin Kane's doing it with me.
So that's going straight off
Wow.
to explicit on iTunes. Right, NSFW?
I'm gonna keep yous.
Absolutely NSFW.
I'm gonna keep yous out of prison.
So basically,
I will
everything that
guest
you,
on that every now and again. I
Yes,
would love that.
that's
That would be
more-
hilarious.
More than welcome.
So anything that you want to say on here but can't, you're just going to say on that.
Absolutely.
We're all dimmed.
But yeah, if you're interested in hearing me do some essentially a podcast that to make you laugh.
And this doesn't.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, but like, we're just going to talk about stuff that we like, talk about stuff that we find funny. Come follow me on come follow me on Twitter, and then you'll definitely get hold of it.
Right. Due to a complete lack of organisation, I haven't actually got quick access to everything that's in the mailbag that I'd left over from last week. I'm having one of those weeks, so I think we'll probably
Fucking flu jab of a week works for anything.
It does.
I could have done with a flu jab before this week because I've had a cold for the
No,
last.
because if it doesn't
Right,
work if you've
I
already got
I
the
used
cold.
to have flu jabs. I stopped having flu jabs when I was 22, and I haven't been actually genuinely sick since I stopped taking.
No, you really are genuinely sick.
Well, apart from that,
I think we'll go now.
yeah.
We will see you next week, where we will have a preview of Singapore.
Yes, we will.
We will probably have lots more conjecture on McHonda or
Yeah.
McRenner
Or maybe something will have been settled then.
or Toro Renner or Toro Honda or something might happen. We'll be about on social media all week as well, so come and find us.
We'll be halfway through the Formula League Challenge.
We will. And yeah, that'll be about it.
A new total shunt.
Yes. If you want to send a total shunt in,
Message me on Twitter. Like, send me a DM on Twitter, because if you send it into the Facebook thing, like, one of us will see it, all of us will see it, and we can't use it. So at a total shunt, again, just send me them on Twitter, and I'll sort them out.
that is cool. Right, we will see you next week.
Stay classy, San Diego.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.